Hello and welcome to the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Our guest today is Barbara Pittman. She is the president of the DC area Women Veterans Rock. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for having us.
Now, we're coming up on Veterans Day.
Yes.
And today we're going to devote the show to women veterans. I am so glad that I was able to contact you guys and reach you guys, because I don't think women veterans are celebrated half as much as they should be and the contribution they make. So let's start by saying you did a lot of years of service in the military. So tell us about that. What branch?
I was in the United States Air Force. I served in the Air Force Legal Service Agency. I got to see the world, and I think it's a wonderful experience, and I wholeheartedly think that every woman that has an opportunity to serve gets a chance to serve at least 2 or 1 year.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. My husband was a submarine officer for 23 years. He served for 23 years.
Oh,
and
so you're
I
a
was
military
Navy
wife?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
okay.
So I
That's
didn't
great.
exactly go out to sea with him, but being part of a military family, it's a lot of work. It's a big commitment.
Yes,
So
it
the
is.
families are part of the service as well, as I'm sure you understand.
Yes, I also was a military wife while I served, and one of the things the Veteran Rock does is that we also support military families.
So why do you think it's important? Because there's so many people who don't understand the importance of having an organization like yours, and knowing that military families, there's a lot of needs out there.
Yes, ma'am.
We
On
have a lot
housing,
of needs. So let's talk about that.
employment, housing, employment, education, financial stability, and physical fitness.
Yes, so of course Sisters for Fitness is about staying fit, living, not just eating right, but living a healthy lifestyle that includes all of the above. And I know that when you're in military service, that's just part of the deal. That's just part of what you do.
Yes.
What happens a lot of times after the service?
Well, after the service, you may go eat all those things that you couldn't eat. You may slack on your exercise, but for the most part, many military women after service are very physically fit. And we have the Department of Veterans Affairs has a what they call the MOVE program. There are other organizations that offer physical fitness or going to the gym, such as you have the Bowling Air Force Base, you have Fort Meade, you have Fort Myer, you have Belvoir, and Andrews, and they all have fully manned gyms.
And you know, if the mother in the family, if she's leading a healthy lifestyle,
Yes.
if she's making sure that she stays fit, of course that trickles down to the children.
Yes.
And the children see that, and that's what they want too.
Yes, yes, ma'am, that is actually very true.
So how do you advocate for women's veterans? What does your organization do as far as advocating for women vets?
Well, we advocate on for claim assistance. We're usually just there to show women which way to go, to help with employment, to be that person that may be your character reference, or if you've heard something, share it with somebody, and that's important. There's information that comes out and is vital to women in the service and out of the service, and we are just there to help to neuter and help people find their way. The coming home issues are, I say, kind of cumbersome.
So what are, when you're coming home, you've done your service, you've spent your time in the military, what are some of the main issues we know one of the issues that you're
Housing.
dealing with. Oh, I was going to say employment, but another issue would be housing.
Yes, housing was a big issue. The Department of Veterans Affairs has done wonderful as far as housing women all over the United States and housing veterans, period. Employment is another issue. Training, because sometimes your job in the military may not transfer as well to a civilian job. And housing, education, making sure you get your kids in the right schools. That was important to me. I was stationed on Bowling Air Force Base, and there were programs actually to give you alternatives of places or schools that you can send your children to.
As far as emotional, and it's got to be an emotional thing too, you've been living this military life, all of a sudden you're out in the civilian world. What are some of the issues that women veterans deal with as far as just the emotional part of being a civilian again?
The emotional is that we may be stuck in the past of what you left home and how you perceived home to be and where you're coming back to. It will be a change. The person has changed. The female veteran has changed. She has a broader wants, needs, and bottom line. And I think it's challenging. However, you just do it and get it done because your family must go on with their daily routine.
So what's your advice? What has been your best advice to these women, especially knowing that you've gone through it, especially women who may have been in Iraq or Afghanistan, or
Well,
what's your best advice?
My best advice is don't lose your integrity. In the military, we're held to a certain degree of integrity and respect for one another, and you should continue those good habits that you developed as far as working, your work habits in the military, because you stay there till the job is done. You really care about your job, and you should just continue to work and do things to the best of your ability, and like I said, the integrity will carry you a long way.
No, so Women Veterans Rock, you're part of several organizations. Is it a collaboration of organizations?
Yes.
How does that work?
We have members from the Disabled American Veterans. We have members from VFW. We Veterans of Foreign Wars, AMVETS. There are some other organizations like the Combined Military Retirees, AMVETS American Legion. All of those I belong to. And we have women in that organization as well. And those women come to and participate in the Women Veterans Rock issues. When we go on the Hill, and we have policy days. We're in March, which is Women's History Month. We take ladies from Philadelphia, Georgia, South Carolina, different places, and we go on the Hill and we listen to what's going on with women. And
what's going on, or what would you say that you're hearing?
Well, I'm hearing that soon their women may be drafted, or there's a bill, HR 4478, and it's called Draft My Daughters Act, and it seems like it's gaining momentum. Ash Carter, who is the secretary, he has recently opened up everything to women, and that's neat because you can pick and choose. And it wasn't so much you could pick and choose in my day.
Exactly,
All right?
yes.
There's been a lot of changes in the last 20 years.
And also women submariners.
Yes,
That's,
yes.
that's a change as well.
The women over, I look at the young women at the D.C. Armory, at the D.C. National Guard Armory, and they just bring a sparkle to my eye to see how they've taken some of the things that we, and I say we, I mean older women veterans, and run with it. They are now colonels and officers of all ranks, and it's just so wonderful to know that, you know, at one time you could barely see a woman officer, and then now they're all over the place. And
my son is down at the Naval Academy. Mm-hmm. And one of the most exciting things with the ceremony when he first started there was to see all of those young women coming into the academy knowing that one day they're going to be officers. And like you said, in our generation, it was a novelty. You didn't see that a lot. You didn't see women officers like you do nowadays, and it's very exciting. It's something I'm excited about for our future.
And then when you ask, "What's your job?" "Oh, gunnery this or whatever." Wow, you know. So wow, you go, girl. So you know that is, yes, it's wonderful to see women in the positions.
Well, what got you involved with women's veteran?
Well,
women veterans rock.
I used to, on Veterans Day and Memorial Day, I used to run with the pack, this Rolling Thunder, especially DAV. Okay. And we'll go down on the National Mall and we'll stand around and you would see other women with the military garb on, and you're like, are they female veterans or they're just there to support their husbands? And on Veterans Day and Memorial Day, it seemed more a masculine day, and you know, we're just honoring guys, and that's not necessarily so. At the Vietnam Memorial, you know, there's a women's memorial, and excuse me, and so I got with Deborah Harmon Pugh, and we started Women Veterans Rock. And we had to brainstorm, get other people's opinion, and the first one was born at Trinity College 7 years ago.
Wow. Now you guys have a rally that you do each year.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
The rally is fun, camaraderie, information on what benefits and services are out there.
So it's not just women standing around or people standing around socializing. You've got
the show is so awesome.
So tell me about it.
We recognize, we pick a woman veteran for that year. Last year it was Captain Demetria Aleziebo, and she's a pilot, a helicopter pilot. Her civilian job, I think she works for Forestry Services, and those are the pilots that put out the fires, and that's something that younger girls, and as they tell me, she looks like me. I can do that because she looks like me, and that's when we are dealing with the junior ROTC. That's a part of our program. We go with, I'm doing this awful.
No. So when you're dealing with the pilot program, you're dealing with students.
Yeah, well, we show students
what
we do in the military. And, you know, they really get a real surge from that, and they see some of the other jobs that they don't normally see, not the administrative jobs or driving a tank or something like that. They see real people doing real work.
And that's important.
And that is very important. And very important for the students here in the District of Columbia, the junior ROTC female that they have in the schools, in DC public schools.
Yeah,
they
it's
really,
very important that they see role models, like you
Yes.
said, people
Yes.
who look like you.
Yes.
So during the rally, you offer information telling about the services
We
that are
have
available.
health services, dental, things that you can do with your child, places that you could go with your children. Of course, we get a T-shirt every year, and they change. And that T-shirt you end up wearing down to the National Mall on a certain day. And believe it or not, Deborah has noticed her T-shirt all over just about all over the United States. Whenever there is something going on, she says, "Is that a Women Veterans Rock T-shirt?" And it might be somebody in North Dakota, you know.
Wow.
So it's getting around, and it's moving along.
So how successful have the rallies been each year? Have you
I
gotten
think
good
they've been
participation?
very successful. The only thing that we don't have is that people don't register prior to the event. So we really can't plan on how many bags to have, how many T-shirts, how many this to have. So it's very important for women to go online, register for the event, and show up.
In any woman who's been a veteran,
Yes,
can
or
participate.
women veterans' families. So it could be a military guy, or it could be somebody that cares about veterans is able to sign up and come to the event.
That's very good, very
Yes.
good. Now, you're not just in the Washington, D.C. area.
No, we're just about got half of the United States on this side.
Wow, so it just
but
started
we're a national group, organization. However, we're just not DC, Maryland, Virginia.
So it just started off with just a few people with an idea, and so it's blossomed.
Yes.
Where you're all over the place now.
Yes, we are.
So you're represented in Texas and Philadelphia and...
Yes, and when they do an event, post it on Facebook so the other ladies around the United States can see. And sometimes people actually get in their cars, a group of them, maybe four, jump in a car and go wherever there is an event. There is a Women Veterans Rock parade, Veterans Day parade, but that is in Philadelphia on the 6th of November. And so we're hoping to take some people up there for that event.
Now, you know, this time of year, you probably get a lot of requests, people wanting to talk to veterans. And like I said, I really searched for an organization like yours. I really wanted to talk about women's veterans. But this is something that we should be talking about year-round.
Yes.
It's something that we should be concerned with year-round.
One of the most important things that I can say is that veterans come back to the community. Okay, so the community needs to embrace those veterans, because you never know what's on a person's mind, what they're feeling. Veterans are prideful, and you can believe that they're not going to let you know when they're hurting. So programs, organizations like Women Veterans Rock, you also have Miss Veterans America with Jazz Booth. So for those ladies who may not feel so good about themselves, it's really nice, you know, because of an injury or anything, you know. And also Jazz also houses veterans. So we make sure in all the jurisdictions that women aren't on the streets, okay?
Because it's a shame. You have served your country, and it's mind-blowing to even think of the idea that a veteran could be homeless, a woman veteran could be homeless after doing such a grand service.
Yeah, and like I said, they come back to the community. The community needs to do their part. And two words that should never be in the same sentence, and that's veterans and homelessness. And that's for men and women alike.
Absolutely, because we saw You and I are probably similar in age. We saw what happened to the Vietnam veterans.
Yes.
When they came home.
So there are services in place to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
As far as health care, do you feel like things are getting better? We know what was happening years ago. How have you seen things improve?
Well, used to be when you walked into the VA hospital over 20 years ago, they thought that you may have been somebody's wife escorting a veteran to the hospital. The Veterans Affairs, I served on the advisory board for the Secretary of the Veterans Affairs.
Oh, wow.
And so there's the Center for Women Veterans ensures that the Department of Veterans Affairs hospitals are, there's a women veterans, what they call Women Veterans Resource Manager assigned to every hospital. So there's one lady or one veteran. In some cases, it can be a civilian, but at the Washington, D.C. VA Medical Center, it's Gail Bell, who is also an Army veteran. And believe it or not, she keeps up with all her female veterans. If she hasn't seen you at the hospital for a minute, they're going to give you a call. Somebody's going to come looking for you. And I appreciate our hospital because it has changed tremendously. We have we now have a sonogram. We got all those all the equipment.
Mammogram,
yeah. We got everything.
All the women's stuff.
All the women's stuff, and they are able to help you if you're pregnant to a certain part, and then of course then you would go somewhere else, of course, to have your baby. That's more not so military.
Yeah, but the services now are there in a way that they weren't there.
Oh, definitely.
Before.
They really monitor for cancer, for women, for cancer and other diseases. You know, they have groups. It's just went.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
It's great. Everything is online with what women need today. Yeah.
And I want to emphasize once more, I want to emphasize the fact that you will be rallying on Veterans Day.
Yes, November 11th.
We'll be coming together to celebrate.
That we all made it home.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
we're here to tell
I'm sure
about
you
it.
celebrate the ones who didn't make it
exactly.
home as well.
And the ones who, I'm sitting here because of somebody pulling me along, and after my military service, I have a lot of people to thank that aren't here with us anymore. And those were some very distinguished ladies. I just hope I can grow up to be just like them. But for instance, we had a 108-year-old female veteran. Her name was Alice Dixon, and she was quite a lady. And she passed about a year ago. We had Ms. Ragland, and Ms. Ragland and Ms. Dixon served with the 688 Postal Squadron, and they had to, during World War II, not get rid of, but make sure that the people whose mail, those military guys that were over there, that their mail got to them. And it wasn't like our mail today where you got a zip code, you got your name and your proper address. It was Bubba. Okay, so who's Bubba, you know? So they had to find out who Bubba was, but the mail was stacked up as high as the ceiling in rooms, but they got that mail out. So,
and, Lord knows, I'm sure how important that was.
Oh, yes, for morale.
Back then.
Yes, yes,
Wonderful.
definitely.
And so we will give the information on the rally, which is going to be held on the 11th.
Yes,
At,
it's Friday, Friday, November 11th.
At Trinity.
At Trinity College, and that is 125 Michigan Avenue, Northeast, Washington, D.C.
and it's going to be more than just folks getting together.
No.
There are going to be services.
It'll be services. And, oh, let me tell you about the program. Get back to the program. The program, we recognize in Women Veteran every year. We have our rising stars, our people who have maybe started a business and they're doing really well, and we're just wanting to push them along and support them, that their business will flourish through the,
Absolutely.
flourish through the year until the next rally, and people know about it. And
so it's supporting each other.
It's supporting each other. One of our radio announcers in D.C. on I think it's 96.3 HUR is she comes on at 3. She's
Michelle?
No.
Oh, Tracina.
No, not Tracina. I can't
Harold,
think. I'm looking right at her
there screaming because he's like, I know that. But anyway.
Yes. Well, anyway, she's helped us do a lot of programs, and usually Sundays her got to be on the radio day, but this is a Friday. Hopefully she'll join us, even though I've forgot her name. I haven't forgotten her name. I'm looking right at it, and her. But she's an Air Force veteran, and she...
You're talking about Lorna Newton,
yes,
who I worked with for many years.
Yes.
Lorna is one of the most wonderful
and I do not miss her program.
Yeah,
okay?
Yes, and she is very, very devoted
yes, she is.
to veterans, and I've known Lorna a long time, and she's the real deal.
Yes, she is.
So she will be there.
Yes, normally she comes to our program, and when we first started out, she was our announcer.
Wonderful.
She was our MC.
Wonderful.
Yes,
So it's going to be a grand program this year, and I hope, and I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to talk to you, that we had the opportunity to put that out there. And guess what? We're going to talk this time next year, right?
Yes, ma'am. We sure will. I have more to tell you by that time.
Barbara Pittman, thank you so much for joining us today. We've been talking to Barbara Pittman, and Barbara is the DC president for Women Veterans Rock, and you're going to be rocking on Veterans Day.
Yes, we will.
Thank you so much for joining us. You've been watching the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Have a great day.